Again, it is sensitive personal data or information. Okay. So we all knew this, but it were in terms of rules, but not act. And when the legal analogy has came into the null hypothesis or an alternate hypothesis, we know. So it has been a mandate. As a legal proceeding can happen, you have to have a DPO, you have to have a governance officer, you have to have a grievance officer, customer relations department with data privacy or protection officer. So now it has become an act. Now to get into it, you see what are the data fiduciary, what are the data principal, and what are the data processor. The data principal is the customer, the consumer, in terms of Electricity Act. And the data fiduciary is the power utility. And the data processor is the mobile service provider or the internet service provider, the vendors who are processing the data on behalf of the utility. Now here you can see that we have different functions like customer relations, commercials, human resources, financial, materials. You have the access control systems, the application development, maintenance, IT infrastructure, metering part. You are having smart meters, electromechanical meters. You have the SCADA part, the substation, distribution automation, and last but not the least, the generation part. So here the data principals individually are the customers. We are having around 35 lakh of consumers, customers in 567 square kilometer of our license area in Kolkata and Howrah. So the customers, apart from the customers, are the employees, contractors, the customers, the shareholders, the vendors, third parties, our own employees, the OEMs. Most important, as I come to Durgapur, Asansol area, I know that something is very much related to the power utility is the operational technology part. You are all coming from mining industries, process industries, and you are using the operational technology part, the OT part. And also in the OT part, you are totally dependent on the OEM. You don't have anything to say of your own. And last but not the least is the contact details. If you see the national identifier, the payment information, the address info, the KYC of the customer, these are all valuable personal data or information. You have the past business records, you have the contact details, you have the CCTV footage, you have the employee biometrics, all are very, very important as personally identifying information. Next you see the personal data lifecycle and key considerations. Well, there are many slides, I will not get into it because it will get more complex. To understand, you have to understand what is the data processor, that is the third party. The third party like the internet service provider or the mobile service provider, where as a customer you have some information of your own which are getting processed when we are going to the US network or any other network where we are putting our data, because you know that in today's world where you have distributed computing, now we are going into parallel computing, that is the cloud infrastructure. Also the business functions, you can see the data privacy, the governance part, the control implementation, the data privacy management framework, privacy governance, and implement data privacy control. So there are many controls which are to be avoided as far as the DPDP Act. The inventorizing is when you are having the inventories and you are having the personal data elements and assessing the current state of privacy controls, you have to get it implemented in a power utility. So inventorize current state and then you can have a proper network. The governance part, option 1, option 2, option 3, as per the Act they have given, you can have a data protection officer, grievance officer, or data protection officer with the legal compliance led, or IT and privacy representative from legal or compliance end. The core principles for establishing the privacy management framework, you can see it is the internal policy, whatever you are having, the vendor's policy, the employee's policy, the customer's policy, the data principal rights management process. You have the DPIA, it is more complex, it is the impact assessment process and template. Personal data retention guideline, data privacy, RACI matrix, accountability, you have the control, the implementation part. Then you have the privacy by design guidelines and the supporting templates like breach register. You have to maintain a data principal request tracker and sustenance checklist. The rolling out of this privacy management framework, this is our internal thing, but just to let you know, when you finalize the data privacy governance, you have to have the governance for the utility with the grievance officer, and the responsibility lies with the board and the senior management. Then you have the CSE, we have just put this Power Utilities Personal Data Privacy Management Framework, the policy, procedure and the templates. Again, it comes under the responsibility of the data privacy officer or the governance officer or the grievance officer. The rollout of the personal data privacy management framework, the framework to be communicated to all the across the functions, be it distribution or generation, and the employees. Again, responsibility lies with the DPO and GO. The most important part is the data privacy controls. You have to get to the data privacy controls. It may take 4 or 5 months, but you have to have the activity laid down like this. You have to have a proper outcome, and then the responsibility part. The responsibility lies here, you see, with the ADM infra team, the website, the application development team, the customer relations and the commercials department, the purchase department, most important, the legal departments, the GEO and the human resources department, materials, procurement, all are totally liable to follow the DPDP. So, last but not the least, you can see these are the, you have to conduct a data protection assessment, DPIA. And for this, I think already Shourav and Satya told about Sandeep Sengupta. Sandeep is going to do that. And in that case, I think Logarhythm would be very handy along with Microsoft to help you out to have this DPIA assessment being done at all the organization level. And also, the last part is to launch the privacy awareness campaign. Already Devashish and Satta, they said about the awareness campaign that is to be done with the help of the human resources of your human resources department of your respective organization. You have to have the materials legal also being a party to it, along with the other functions. And these are the configuration of the data retention policies across applications, and to have this ticketing system to manage data principal grievance requests from the customers end. Most important, again, it would take a year to implement DPDP. It's very complex. That's all from my end. If you have any questions, we can take it at the cocktail session. And thanks to Satya, Devashish, and also Shourav who drove me up to this place. I'm also a member of the CIO club. So I'm not thanking my clubmates, and at the same time I thank Microsoft. They are always partnering with Logarhythm. I can see Reddington, Mithun is not here, I think. They are here. Okay, so we are missing Mithun anyway. So thanks to, please a big applause for the Microsoft Logarhythm team for bringing us all complicated here. Thank you so much.
Let me add to that.